channel. This is the first video, hopefully of many more that I'm going to be posting on here, all about my love for books and what I'm reading and books that I want to read. And today I'm going to start off by doing the reading habits tag. I would say probably my favorite place to read is in bed, just because that's the only place I really don't get interrupted is when I'm laying in bed and reading. But I also love to read in the bath and just put in a bunch of bath bombs and have music playing on my iPod. I have a whole reading playlist that I listen to, and so that's probably my favorite place to read is in the bath. I definitely use bookmarks. Right now I'm actually using my bookmark from my Book of the Month box, but I do love buying bookmarks. I have more than I need, but I just like having something fun to put in there to hold my place, and so I always go and look at the bookmark section when I'm at the bookstore. Sometimes I'll pick different bookmarks for different genres of books that I'm reading. Like I have Harry Potter bookmarks, so I'll use those whenever I'm reading or rereading Harry Potter books. I typically try to stop at least a page break, if not at the end of a chapter, but I do have a really bad habit of reading late at night in bed and then falling asleep while I'm reading, and so a lot of the time I stop reading just in the middle of a paragraph, and then I'll go back the next day and pick up where I left off. But ideally, I at least try to stop at a page break or a point in a chapter where a scene has closed. But most of the time I try to make it to the end of a chapter. I typically don't do either just because I don't think about it. I'm not good at multitasking when I'm reading. I need to put all my focus on what I'm reading. So if I'm being distracted by a snack or something like that, it takes some of my concentration off. Not that I'm against eating while reading. I would love to do that. I just don't even think about it when I read. And drinking, I normally always have a drink with me, whether it's just like my water or something else, but I don't make a point to have a drink or a snack with me when I'm reading. If it happens, it happens, but it's never something that I make a point to have. And like I said a little bit earlier, I do have a reading playlist that I listen to while I read, and the main reason for that is that I like to sit with my boyfriend while I'm reading most of the time, and he normally always has the TV on, and I cannot focus if I have TV on in the background. So normally I'll be sitting there with him, but I have my earbuds in and I'm listening to my reading playlist while I'm reading. I normally always just read one book at a time. The only time I will read several books at once and switch between different books is if I'm reading like a book for Bible study or for a women's group, and then I have my fiction book that I'm reading. Then I can kind of separate the self-help from the fiction. But I never read 3 fiction books at once and just switch between the two, because I like to focus on one story at a time and focus on one set of characters, and I don't want to get into a situation where I'm mixing up plots and people and things like that. So most of the time it's only one book at a time. I do make a point to throw my book in my purse when I'm going out, or if I know I'm going to go someplace where I'm going to have to wait. But more often than not, I really don't take it out, just because if I'm someplace where there's a lot of people around and there's a lot of conversation, I'm not going to be able to focus on what I'm reading. And I don't just want to sit there with my book open just staring at words that I'm not actually taking in. So I would say for the most part, I generally just try to read the most at home. I only read silently in my head. Reading out loud reminds me of when I was in school and we would go around the room and take turns reading paragraphs. And even when we did that, I had a really hard time paying attention because I was so focused on not mispronouncing words or stuttering or skipping over words. So my focus was on just perfectly reciting what was on the page, and I had a hard time concentrating on what was actually being said in the book. So I don't read out loud. I don't do either. I have a habit of, if I'm like, okay, I want to get to the next chapter, I do skip and just see how many more pages do I have until the chapter I'm in is finished. Or if I'm looking to get to a certain page count in the book before I stop reading, I will flip ahead and be like, okay, how much more do I have left until I get there? But I've never really had a problem with spoiling things for myself or reading ahead or looking at the end of the book and seeing what happens, just because to me that ruins what's in the middle of all that, and why would I want to keep reading if I'm going to know what the ending is? I used to only want my books to look perfect and pristine, and really didn't want them having bent pages or have them looking used. But now it's totally different. I have dog ear in my books, I bend the pages, I make notes, I will break the spine. So I love the book looking like I actually read it and that I loved it. I have books with watermarks on them, I have pages that are crinkled, and to me that just shows that a book was well loved, and I like the way those look on my shelf better than the books that just look like they've never been touched before. And yes, I do. That was something that I got in the habit of doing in high school for my literature class, and it's just something that I've continued doing since then out of habit. I don't annotate or highlight or tab every book that I read. So if I'm reading a light romance or something purely just for fun or to de-stress or to escape, then I normally won't annotate or write in a book like that. But for the majority of the books that I read, I do take notes, I highlight, I tab them, just because I feel like that helps me get the most out of whatever I'm reading. That's it for the reading habits tag. Thank you so much for popping in to watch my video, and I hope to see everybody soon.